If you're an OnlyFans creator making 5 to 10K per month and you've been stuck there for a while now, then you probably tried a bunch of different things to grow. Maybe you think you need more traffic or another traffic method, or you changed your bio. You probably changed a bunch of different things to try to increase this. But if you're already getting traffic, what you probably have is a chatting problem, because you're spending all of this energy and effort on great reels and you're making this content and subscribers are coming in, but you don't have a way to reliably turn these subscribers into long-term spenders. And even the people who don't have much money, getting them to spend as well. And so what I've done in this video is I've mapped out the entire system that we use to take creators from 4 and low 5 figures a month into the high 5 figures and beyond. So my name is Jackson Adams, and I've been in the OF space for over 4 years, and I've worked with some of the top agencies and top creators in the game. And from all that experience, that's how I've mapped out this entire system, what's universal and works for all of them. So hopefully you find some points in this video that help you out, that can make a difference on your page. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
Okay, so here's the entire system here. I'm calling it the Streamlined Segmented Conversion Machine. A little fancy name. No, you gotta have that. And so quick overview, it comprises of mostly 3 segments here. There's the welcome segment, there's then the conversion segment, and finally the retention segment. And all these combine together to make sure that you're maximizing each and every fan. Because I'm sure you know, a lot of pages are really spammy, right? The fans come in and it's just a whole bunch of mass messages, bundles, and there's spam pages, they don't charge a lot. And so a lot of people have adapted and they do the GFE experience and they focus on scripting, right? So they try to push everyone through scripts. And then, so these pages are built for higher spenders, right? But the whole issue here is that you need to cover both grounds. No matter what type of page you have and no matter what type of image you're going for, the spenders are always going to be different and they're always going to have different things that they want. And so the entire idea of this system is to be able to cater to all of them and be able to give everybody what they need. And so this way, the average fan spend is going to be higher, because at the end of the day, this is the #1 metric, is going to be your average fan spend. What's the average everybody's spending, right? If you know it's a specific number, if you know it's $36, well, then you know how much you're going to make off of every fan on average, right? And so that is the whole idea of this system, is optimizing everybody. Optimize the low spenders and optimize the high spenders, right? And it's different methods for each of that. And so we're going to get into each segment and each block that comprises it that makes this happen, right? And so I would watch this whole video if you're going to watch it, because there's going to be some points in here that you probably haven't heard before. Maybe you do know most of them, but there could be some that you don't know that completely change the game, right? And it's the harmony of all of these that makes it work. So, with that intro up, let's get into it. First of all, let's get into a page, which is a great example page that we plugged this system into. And the reason it's such a good example is because we weren't doing any traffic work for this creator. Usually her views stayed around the same. Like every single month, the subscribers, sometimes they're higher, sometimes they're lower, but overall, it stayed pretty much the same. And so that is why it's a really good example of what chatting alone can do. And this is one of the nicer examples, right? So you can see here, we started in late April, and this is when we were gathering our data, and we saw, okay, on average, $8,000 a month. And so then the next month, it was only like $3,000 up, but we kept optimizing. It kept getting better and better. And now in October, it's at 36,000, which is a pretty good peak. Now it's time. Let's get some more traffic in, right? Because the average fan spend was $8 at the beginning, which is just, way too low for this type of page. And so now it's at $34, and that's a big jump. And that is that golden range, right? When you're in $30, $40, that's a really good range to be in. Some people track golden ratio, which is like your subscription revenue compared to your message revenue, but I don't like it because people have like different subscription prices, right? Someone might have a $20 subscription price, while somebody else has an $8 subscription price, or someone's running free trial links and somebody's running this discount, and it's always different. And so that ratio isn't a true teller of how much everyone's actually spending. So I think the average fan spend, like that's the golden ratio. How much are they spending on average, right? And so this is a cool example here. So let's get right into this system. And so the welcome segment here, right? And so the first thing is going to be an optimized bio. Like we're not going to go over the landing page stuff and everything, because that's a whole nother video, right? All this stuff's super in depth. I'm going to try to only focus on the monetization side. This welcome section is sort of them coming from landing page to a paying subscriber, the introduction part, right? So optimized bio, right? You want to make sure you're taking advantage of this space. They're going to see your pictures. Obviously, you want your pictures to look good, but the bio should have things in it when they read it that make them want to subscribe more and want them to take some actions, right? We're taking advantage of every single part where you can put text on the page, right? So it needs to offer value, obviously show your personality, and hit multiple points of good copy. Now, throughout this whole video, I'm going to be talking a lot about good copy and using this word. And basically all I mean by that is different points that make somebody want to take that next step, whether it's a call to action to subscribe or a call to action to chat or an offer of value, which I'll get in with these examples and it'll make a lot more sense. But everywhere that you can have copy, you should have it on your OnlyFans page. This is supposed to be an entire monetization machine, right? Where a fan can go anywhere and they can spend money. It's not just one part here or one part there or one way that they can spend. There should be as many ways for them to spend money as possible while it still looks natural and flowy. And so you can optimize everyone, right? And so anyways, let's get into the bio here, right? And so a bad bio would be like, goth mommy, come have some fun with me. It's not that there's anything inherently bad about it, right? Nothing's wrong with that. It's just a statement. This is, who you are. But it's bad because there's no points in here that get someone want to subscribe. So what I'll give this example here. Now, this example is like super generic. Like obviously, do not copy this exactly. This example is just to highlight those good points of copy and what they are. So you'd have your introduction like, hey babe, I'm Jenna, your new favorite obsession. I post every day, right? There's some value. Teasing moments, private conversations, and scenes that never make it to Instagram. So already you're framing this as like exclusive. If you come on here, you're going to get things that you don't get on Instagram, right? So that's clearly portrayed here. What you'll get inside, some more value, exclusive, spicy. You won't find this anywhere else, right? Daily messages and behind the scenes, unfiltered, raw, and addictive, right? Good words. And so overall, good copy. And then finally, a CTA. Keep your rebill on for surprise rewards, free drops, and secret content I only send to my day ones, right? Come make yourself at home. I notice who's really here for me. So we have this personal feel as well. And in the retention segment, I talk about there should be points where you're telling them to put the rebill on. In this case, it's in the bio. And you can do that because this whole thing is not going to pop up, right? So they might only read this part. But someone who really likes you, they're going to read it all. And then they're going to say, oh, turn my rebill on for surprise rewards. They might come into your page and turn the rebill on, right? So boom, bunch of good points here. And again, it's not something to copy exactly. I wouldn't even plug this exact one. What it's about are the points on here. And if you include all those points, then it's going to create a good bio, if that makes sense. And so, also DMCA warnings. I would not put DMCA warnings in your bio. I see it all the time. And the reason I wouldn't is because the people who are going to leak your content, they're going to leak it anyways. They're not scared of this DMCA warnings. They've been seeing this, this has been around forever. What you should have is actual DMCA. Have people that are taking down the leaks for you, have that. And if you have that, then okay, you don't really need to worry about it. If they're going to leak it, they're going to leak it. I think that it kind of takes up space. And it's also I never like to bring in that this is a business, because your OnlyFans is a business. You're showing them, this is a business. And I like to keep it really personal. So when you put that DMCA warning in, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the feel and look of it. So yeah. So this is the most important part of the welcome segment for sure. Your enticing page offer. You got to have a good offer on the page that makes them think they need to subscribe right now. You feed this in the landing page too. When they come to the page, they're like, yo, I need to subscribe, right? And so what does it need to be? Well, it needs to be limited and discounted. If you don't have an offer, you're missing out on so much urgency and so many subscribers. For example, if your subscription price is $12 a month and you just left it there, some people are going to come in, right? But you're going to be missing out on a lot of spenders. There might be someone who would spend $400 right when they subscribe, but they didn't subscribe because the subscription was too high because you're trying to make your money off the subscriptions, right? Whereas if you let them in for $3, they might have came in and spent that $400 right then and there. And so that's why it's so important to get these people in the door and bank your money off of the chats and bank your money off of the rebills because they really do add up. And one of the most extreme examples that we saw was a page where she was getting 3 to 7 paid subscribers a day, but was running no discount. And we changed it to free and had a really, really good offer. And she was getting 400 a day. Now, this is an extreme example. It's not always going to work like this. And yes, it was paid to free, but 7 versus 400 is a lot better. And so the whole point there is that you got to have an offer. I don't care. It could be 5% discounted. It's just that psychology of this is discounted and limited, so I need to subscribe right now, right? So we need hype and we need a chat CTA, which I'll explain right here. So A bad offer is no offer, or something just like come say hi, like so basic, put something in there. Or if you say like 75% off this week, because you put the text of 75% off this week, but then on the offer, it literally says 75% off for 5 days or until this date, right? So it's just kind of like a double statement. Whereas like a good offer here, what we do a lot is we'll make the offer infinite, and then you can just put 8 left in brackets. And I know like it doesn't make sense, but it literally, it works, and it kind of sticks out more than an actual offer with an actual number, because it's a very small up in the corner. Here you're saying, look, 8 left and I'm ending it, right? Never doing this again. This promotion might ruin me. So that's a lot of hype. So it's like, might ruin her. Like, why would this ruin her? Like, what am I going to see on her page? I want to know, right? But come tell me your favorite position and I'll send you me in it. This is huge. This is like, when you read this, you're pre-assuming that you're subscribed, first of all. And also it's saying, okay, it's a CTA to chat. I'm going to chat her, which they do. But something that's crazy with these type of offers is that they almost never ask for what you say. Like, this is like a free value proposition right here, but they're not going to ask for it. It's so rare that they will ask for it. And if they do ask for it, it's like, so what, send them it. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're, making it scarce, hype it up, and give them a CTA. Tell them to come chat something. And you can change these up. You can go crazy with it, right? But it's just, sauce it up, right? So we have this good bio. It's telling you to do stuff. It's telling you, turn your rebill on. Look at all this stuff you're going to get from me. It's for you, right? And then you have this good offer, which is like, look, but only 8 more spots. And this is just so crazy that I'm going to be like letting you in to see all this value at this cheap of a price, right? Like, chat me and like we can get started. So boom, this is a little machine right here that's going to make a big difference to your subscribers.
So there's actually one more part that I wanted to add in right here. So on your offers, you want to make sure that you have a separate offer for new subscribers and expired subscribers. Don't do the both. Do one for the new, like we just talked about, but for the expired subscribers, make this campaign more enticing. Be like, come back now and say hi, and I'll give you a free gift. Something for free. There needs to be some value here, because some creators come in and they have like thousands and thousands of expired subscribers that they've never targeted. So if you target them, especially if you haven't before, you're going to get a lot more money, and you might get a ton of fans just in a day. You could get hundreds if you never ran this before. And again, when you run it, make sure it's a lot more enticing than the new subscribers. It's worth giving them something for free, which again, they probably won't even ask for, but just throw it in there. Make sure you're getting these people back, because they left your page. They're not paying you anymore. Let's get them paying you again.
Now, this part, I love this part right here, converting welcome message, right? A lot of people on the welcome message, it's just like a, hey, how are you, or whatever, or it's a little video saying hi. Look, this is another point where instantly you want to put this copy in there, because you want to get these people to spend ASAP. 1, so you can weed out the non-spenders from the spenders and the people who are going to spend money. And 2, because in business, the people who spend within the first hour, actually, I believe there was a study where it was the people who spend within the first hour are 4 times more likely to spend over the long term, right? And so when you know that data, you're like, all right, well, we got to get them to spend ASAP. Like, let's get them spending money. They subscribed, they're subscribing to a lot of people. You need to take their attention and steal it, right? And so intro video plus PPV, which we'll get into, right? And so like it comprises of being seductive, hello, message me daily, hype, and CTA to unlock bundle. And also, if you're using certain tools, you can actually delay this to send like 30 seconds to a minute after they subscribe. So it sort of seems more personal. It doesn't seem automated. It's like, oh, she actually sent me this message, right? But that's optional. And so a bad welcome message would just be something like very just plain, like, hey, welcome to my page, message me and let's have some fun, right? It's like, it's not bad, but it's so generic. You can make it a lot better. And so we'll get into this. So on the text, you would say like, hey, so glad you're here. Can't wait to get to know you. Okay, cool. But the main thing here is the video, and you would set this as a free preview and use a lot of tonality here. This video, you want it to be very, very personal and close to the fan. And so again, this is an example, but it's about the structure, right? I'm so glad you came to hang out with me, right? Welcoming them. If you check in with me every day, we're going to have the type of fun that keeps you coming back for more and more. So here's a CTA. Talk to me every day, right? But before I can get a little deeper with you, I need you to show me you're serious. So go ahead and unlock the bundle I just dropped for you. That's where things really start. Right, so this is a CTA to unlock this bundle, and you're framing it as, hey, I need to trust you more. So look at this, right? And it's also more personal, and it can flow into more scripts as well. This is so huge that we usually see these welcome messages, when you get them right, it will add 20 to 30% of revenue. It will add 20 to 30% of revenue coming just from a welcome message. It's not always the case, but it's gonna add money, and you want to test different ones. This is why the data points are so key here. But yeah, this welcome message is huge. And so here in the welcome segment, we see some of the key data points you want to see is that welcome message open rate. If it's not high enough, you should adjust things like price or adjust the message. But you need to take enough data, right? And you will sort of see these numbers that are good for you or bad for you. If you don't know the number, then you can't optimize it. But certainly a welcome message is better than no message. So again, this video right here would be like a preview, and then you would set the bundle as paid. I would do like $8 to $12, nothing crazy. And the bundle is just some light stuff, some of the most light paid content that you would be offering. That's what this video would have. And at $8, they'd be happy to buy it. And so now you instantly know who the spenders are. You can instantly list that. You can treat them differently. There's a lot of things you can do. So this gives you data and it makes you money, right? And so boom, this one, I don't see enough people doing this. And this is a big issue for the people who just focus on chats and they just want to milk everybody as much as possible with their scripts. That's great. Like, you want to do that, right? But you're missing out on these people who don't want to chat, because there's so many people that don't want to chat, and they would spend, if they saw a pinned post, if they had options to just buy things without talking, they would. But since you don't have that, they never spend money on you. And so many creators, so many agencies miss out on this, right? So like the whole idea of this is a machine where they can spend, right? They can spend on the wall. They can spend on the bundle messages. They can spend on scripts. And so that's what you want here. You want these PPV pin posts. Again, you can do the preview here for the post where it's like what the PPV is, but blur it out. Or it could be like the start of the video. You have a lot of options. And then the paid section of the video is actually like what it is, right? And so you would want to have a few of these. You could have 2 to 4. And you want varying options, right? So you want like the most extreme one. I would put that at top, for like $200 of the craziest content you offer. And you might think, oh, this might devalue it for the GFE experienced people, but not exactly. What it's going to do is it's going to let those people, and you will see that more people than you think will actually pay $200. And then you have the lower options, right? And the lowest option being like $10 to $15 for a light piece of content. And you want the 200 one at the top, because someone might come in and let's say they have that money, they want to pay $200, but at the top they just see like, oh, okay, this is a lighter video here, and they pay $30 for it. But then they scroll down and like, oh, here's the 200. Like, I would have bought this, and now they don't buy it because they just bought the lighter one for $30, right? So just give them the option. Boom, 200 right here, right? And so boom, now we're capitalizing off these lower spenders. This is going to bring your average fan spend up. A lot of times we saw that when we would come on pages, we would see the average spend per spender would get a lot higher. So this is like each person who's spending money because of the scripting. But the average fan spend wasn't necessarily getting higher. And that's because there was this large contingent of people who didn't spend money. They didn't want to chat, right? And so that is where these teasing PPV pin posts and the converting welcome message, and later into the system, there's other components too that capitalize on these people who don't really like to talk, right? And so this is pretty much the welcome segment. Again, key data points here is going to be the open rate for the welcome message and the pin post open rate, right? And everything else is more on the traffic side, like tracking data of subscribers and everything. It's not really part of the chatting system. And so we move into the conversion segment, right? And so in this welcome segment too, you're segmenting these people. You're figuring out who they are. You're talking to them. You're figuring out, okay, do they spend money? Lists, right? What time zones are they in? Where do they work? What are the things they like? And so that way you'll be able to script with them better and have them in the right lists for mass messages and whatnot. And so the first part of the conversion segment is intelligent scripting, right? Price based on the sub, which is off the data that you gather on the sub, and then a sales ladder with data. And so, you guys probably know what a script is, but here's the sort of idea here. You want to start your scripts with something free, whether that's a free picture, a short video, not really showing anything, or even a voice note, right? And so you want to see like which free picture is converting the most. Like, is it this picture on a script? And what I mean is like, okay, we have picture 1, picture 2, a voice note, and video. And so over time, you're alternating what you use as the first thing you send when you're trying to transition into a script, and you see which one converts the people to actually start spending on the script the most. And then based off the one that is converting the best, that's what you use. So it might be the voice note, it might be the picture, and then once you know which one works the best, you're gonna make more money. There is tendencies, but if you don't test, like, you're not gonna know, right? And so you keep going up this ladder and up this ladder. And what the intelligent pricing is some people say, like, let's say you have a certain video and you're like, I only charge $80 for this. Like, if they don't pay $80, I'm not selling it, right? That's fine. there's people who are going to pay $80 for it. But the thing is, there's some people who will pay $40 for it. There might be a ton of people who would pay $40 for it, but not enough that are going to pay $80. And so you want to just sell to those people. If somebody only has $40 and that's all they'll pay, sell them the video, right? Because a sale is better than no sale. But that's also why you have the list, because you realize, okay, if somebody just came in, now they're paying $65, they're paying $85, they're paying for everything. Those guys you want to charge more. There's certain people you could take through a script and charge them $200 for everything. And so that's why it's so important to keep data on these fans and list them and know exactly who they are. And the list will also help your chat team as well, because they're going to come in, they're not going to have to know off their memory. It's written down right there. So they know, okay, charge them like this, charge them like this. And it's good because then the people that are buying it from $45, like they're not going to go tell the $200 guys they're paying $45 for it. Just get the sales, right? And so a lot of times these are GFE in the moment. And so what that means is that you're telling them like, hey, like this is me right now. You're telling them it's you right now. They're like, oh, I want to see this. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to go take that for you. 2 minutes later, send it. Obviously, you're not taking it right now, but it adds a lot, and a lot of times they believe it. And if they call it out, you can handle that too. So, for these GFE people, some people don't care about that, but these whales are going to care about it, and they want to know, like, it's just them, make them feel special, right? And so this is what I was talking about earlier, adjust the openers and sequences on the conversion data, like see what works best, what scripts actually work best, and yeah. So know when to hold back versus just sell. So sometimes with whales, and you have to be experienced to see this, but when you see people who are going to likely spend a lot of money, sometimes what you can do is actually hold back content from them. Like they want to see like your crazier, higher tier content. You're like, look, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, we just met, stuff like that. And you can kind of build up this relationship over days. And then on like the 5th, 6th day, they'll spend $500 a day from then on, right? Or because if you try to sell to them too early on, they're going to get sales resistance and they're not going to want to buy from you. Versus he's like, oh, she didn't even want to sell to me. Let me spend thousands of dollars, right? So this is just basic psychology here. But there's also a principle that when someone wants to buy, you just sell it to them. So you got to be smart here, and you just kind of have to see who everyone is. You can try both ways, figure out which way is making you more money. So yeah, know when to hold back and know when to just sell. And scripting could have like a whole video on scripts, right? I'm going over the system as a whole. But these are just some points to focus on scripting, right? And so this one, I don't see enough people doing this at all. I'm hearing it be talked about a little more, but this is huge. PPV voice notes, right? And the thing is, you could do this with AI. 11 Labs is the website. You can go on there and talk into the website for a few minutes, and basically it's going to have your exact voice. Like it's honestly pretty scary how accurate this is. Fans never call this out for AI, right? And so this is going to raise trust and conversion for your scripts, just for chats, whatever you want, loyalty messages, whatever it is. And also you can charge for these. Like there are people who will pay you $200 for a voice note, it's just crazy, right? You generated it with AI in like a minute. Okay. And so, yeah, you could use it for scripts. You can use it for charging. I would just please use voice notes, add these in and just test them out. There's so many different ways you can go with this. And yeah. And so, boom, raising custom value and scarcity. So there's so many creators that are charging cheap prices for their customs. They'll do an 8-minute video and the fan will pay $200 for it or something. It's like, what is that? Like $15 a minute? You can raise your custom prices way higher, $50, $150, $250 a minute. As you get bigger, people will actually pay that. Because if you have fans coming in and these whales, and there's people who are paying you $150 to $250 a minute, you don't need to bother doing these 15-minute customs. Because the people who pay for the higher price customs, it will outweigh the people who don't pay as much. So raise your time value and make your time more valuable, and people will pay it. Right? Especially if your page is set up right and there's good copy and they're just the type of people who want to spend anyways, you're going to find these people. So yeah, always raise your custom values and you can charge more than you think. That's what a lot of creators, they come in and say, I didn't know I could charge this much for this. Like, I didn't even realize you could charge this much. Like, yeah, you could charge a lot of money, especially certain people. And so finally here, this is for the non-whales, right? So this is why your lists are important. You want to exclude your whales or your GFE type people because it'll ruin GFE type people. And this targets low spenders / the people who don't want to talk as much. And these are the themed targeted bundles. I wouldn't send these more than 2 times a week because you don't want to oversaturate your page. You don't want to seem spammy. yeah. And so the different themes you could use for these are outdoors, Titty Tuesday, in the car, or any specific content, right? It's just adding that theme. It makes something it makes something seem special when you add a theme to it. And you just send these little bundles. It could be $10, it could be $20. You can mess around with different bundles and keep data on which ones make you the most money. I would definitely recommend doing that. And this is just, again, this is going to bring up that average fan spend, and this is going to help capitalize on those fans that don't want to talk in scripts, but they will pay money. So if you're not sending these, you might miss out. You might send out the bundle and you make $300, right? 15 people paid $20. You don't know. Or it might even 200. You don't know how much it's going to be. And these people could have never spent before. And so that's why the themed bundles are great to send out, especially you make them seem natural, like not too crazy, because again, like you see all these creators and they're sending the craziest welcome message or mass messages ever. And so, be smart with it, be chill with it, but yeah, have some bundles on here. And boom, mass messages, strategically time them, right? A lot of people just send out mass messages. A big sin here, if you're not unsending your mass messages, it's crazy, okay? Because if they all stack up, the fan's gonna come on and be like, look, she's just spamming. Like, she's just spamming mass messages. They know about this, right? And so this is why you can keep lists and you can get people's time zones and where they work. And so you can send them mass messages like right when they get off work or right in the morning, because obviously, there's different time zones. And so that way they feel it's more personalized towards them. Now you can even be going through manually and sending that, like the high whales, custom messages with their name. That you could do that with your higher spenders, but with the average people and most people, a normal mass messages works perfectly fine, right? So always unsend them. The time zone's really big here, and like mass messages are super simple. Can I tell you something crazy? You won't believe what I just did. Good morning, baby. What are you up to? Of course, they get a lot crazier, and sometimes people think a mass message has to be something just outlandish, so crazy, but it's really not the case. Like these basic mass messages actually cause conversation. And so the key data points in conversion segment is average fan spend. Like this is number one. I'm going to be screaming from the mountaintop saying average fan spend. That's what you need to look at, right? Like, cause like nothing else really matters at the end of the day. Average spend per spender is cool. You can use that to optimize, like tweak different things. But at the end of the day, if your average fan spend is good, you're good. And if it's bad, your money's not doing too good, right? And then so you can track the PPV open rate as well. This is good. And this kind of feeds into like by script, like what script is it? What's the open rate on this? And then you can adjust your scripts. You can adjust the prior chatting. There's a lot of ways to do it. And so this is mostly the conversion segment and the different points to focus on here. If you have all these points right, you should be making money. And so finally, we get over into the retention segment. Before I get into this retention segment, I do want to say that this creator was part of a study for our chatting system. And basically, we like to do these studies to actually test our systems and see how they work on pages in real time. That way, one, can make videos about them, and two, just, these systems work, so we like to put them to work. And so if you would like to be a part of this, and maybe you could be on a video like this one, then there is an application form down below, or you can send me a message on Instagram. We're only going to have a few creators that do this, but it's more of like a partnership where we're going to come in and we're going to plug in these exact systems and show you how it all works. So if that's something that you're interested in, just drop me a message, or there's a link in the description. And so anyways, on the retention segment, this is all about keeping these fans in. People are going to convert, right? But we want to keep them on your page. We want to keep them spending, because if they leave your page, they're going to somebody else's page and they're spending money on somebody else's page, right? Which we don't want that. We want them on your page, spending money on you, right? And so the first thing we need to do is incentivize rebills. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the welcome segment, is incentivize the rebills. We see this was in the bio in this case, right? And so you can actually put this in many different areas. So this is the bio example that we used. And, there's a mass message. You can send mass messages to people who have their rebills off. Like this is a classic one. You could send these maybe a couple times a month. And then you can also have it on a pinned post. I'm not a big fan of the pinned post because I do like these PPVs instead. However, you can definitely add it on a pinned post, maybe like the third one down or something, right? Keep your rebill on, DM me VIP, and I will send you. So you want to tell them the reward. You want to tell them what they're going to get, because we send rebill rewards here, but if you're not telling them they're going to get a reward, they're not going to turn the rebill on to get it in the first place. So somewhere on your page, you want to have that in. That's why I like to just sneak it in the bio. They'll probably see it. And so After we've incentivized the rebill, of course, we need to remind them and reward them for the rebills. So bi-weekly content rewards, because if you only do it once a month, they kind of forget, and it might get like 29 days into the month and they haven't gotten their rebill reward yet, and they're gonna think, yo, like, I've said that I would get a reward, she hasn't really given me anything, and maybe they're not much of a talker either, they already got some content, they're like, okay, I'm gonna leave. So I would send them at least twice a month, because you're giving them value now. So if they're paying $15 a month to be subscribed to your page, they're thinking, well, I'm getting $15 worth of value, like, right? There's daily posts on the page. She's sending me content like that only I get. Yeah, I'm going to say subscribe. And then so also you want to kind of frame this like a VIP club. I wouldn't use the word VIP. I'm so tired of hearing VIP club because everyone ever says it, right? But that's because it works. Because the thing is, low spenders, they are motivated by low prices and they're motivated by discounts. But people with money are motivated by something entirely different. People with money are motivated by feeling special. They're motivated by exclusivity for them. And so that's what this does. When you send them these custom thank you vids, right? You could do the voice notes too, right? You could hop over in 11 Labs, make a custom thank you. Yeah, the thank you vids, you could give them 11 Lab voice notes like we were talking about. You could do a lot of things. You could make an actual custom video with you saying thank you and maybe like, hey, I took a few pictures for you. Boom, send it over. So you make it kind of seem personal, like it was only for them, and you make them feel special. So then that way, the people are feeling like they're getting rewarded for their money and they're also feeling special. So no matter what type of spender they are, they're going to feel happy and they're going to say subscribed. And so the last part here, which I don't see like many people doing, is an automated re-engagement system. There's many different tools you can use to do this, but I would definitely recommend it. And so these are timed messages after people have not engaged. And so the whole goal here is if somebody hasn't engaged in 2 weeks, right, chances are they're probably going to leave your page soon. They're not talking to you. And so that's why you got to send them specific messages for those points, right? And so an example here would be like if a fan hasn't spent in 10 days, send a message like, hey, I was thinking about the last time we talked, just found something I wanted you to see, right? And you could be chill with them and you could fit into a script here. Or if a fan's been rebuild for a while, you could trigger the message, you were one of my favorites to talk to. I saved a little surprise for the loyal ones. Want me to show you? And this is just that little bit of personalization. And if it's automated, it's like, ooh, they're getting away, boom, we're bringing them back, right? Because when we look at the system as a whole, it needs to be the triangle system. And so, boom, if they don't rebill here, they're going away, boom. And this is like somebody else's monetization system. They're on somebody else's page, right? Boom, we want to bring them back into the system and just keep them flowing, keep that money flowing, right? And so we're re-engaging low spenders through nostalgia and curiosity, and you reactivate high spenders through emotional validation and exclusivity, right? Just like the rebill campaign. And obviously we keep it human. And so the key data points here are going to be average subscription time and rebill on percent. If you got these, there's so many data points for this whole system that you can keep, but these are just the main ones. If you get these right, you're probably going to be making money. How long does somebody stay subscribed on average, and what's the rebill percentage? If it's low, well, you need to implement some things like this. And so overall, this whole system works in harmony to help you make as much money as possible. And so if you can hit all of these points, each fan is going to be spending as much as they can. And again, as soon as you implement this, you probably might see some big wins if your page didn't have anything before. But if not, again, this takes time. You got to gather data. You got to figure out what actually works so you can implement it. And so that's what we like to do, and that is what we are all about. And so, yeah, this is the monetization system. I really hope that this video, helped you all out, and there was some points in here that you haven't seen before. This could get so much more complex, and you know what? I actually forgot. This is the last segment right here. This is just money, right? Because you get this, they got to hear, you're making money. And so, yeah, hopefully this video showed some things. If there's some stuff in here that, wasn't on here that you want to see, let me know. In the comments, you can shoot me a message, whatever it is, I'll make a video about any of it. And again, like any of these sections, like there could be like a whole in-depth video about just these subsections. And so I'll be making more videos on that, and we'll just be going over all the different systems. We're going to be making some traffic system videos, all that stuff. So yeah, hope this, gave some value to you. If you're missing some of these, go implement this on your page, go check it out. And yeah, let's make some money.